Each fragment of her frantic sprint splintered off into its own set of stings, taunting her lungs and triggering haphazardly at random muscles. And as she ran, Indigo tried to keep her mind occupied. She could not. A suffocating weight clouded her, growing with every step, until all the information in her brain melted into static. She could also feel an increasing warmth in her chest, not any comforting shade of it, but a much more oppressive and leaden form than any type of heat had the right to be. But none of it mattered. The important thing, the only thing, was reaching home. When nothing around you makes sense, all you can do is escape to a safe place and then create your own sense. Time flew, then it dissolved. Dr. Anderson's decision to hastily scrawl a map on an empty prescription page had undoubtedly saved Indigo more than she could have thanked him for. The shorter route avoided the havoc-torn city completely, and instead passed through a smaller, new town. Contrasting with the city she'd been through on her way to the asylum, the mood wafting throughout Moshtown was positively celebratory. But Indigo had no time for celebration. As she crossed the town border and headed towards the forest, that pesky rain started up again. It eventually lowered to a drizzle, but still refused to stop trailing her. Even under the cover of thick trees, the hiss of the unseen shower followed. However, by the time Indigo approached her decrepit old abode in the depths of the western woods, the previously omnipresent droplets seemed to have gone mute. All she heard now was the thing she saw in front of her. It clacked and hissed, not quite violently, more uncertain than dangerous. But Indigo knew better than to approach it. Back when she still used to call Ravenview Asylum home, one of her favorite events was watching Dr. Anderson fry up pancakes for everyone. The bright sizzle and pops of the tiny embers under the pan still glowed clearly in her memory to this day. But these flames, these were different, unlike anything she could ever have imagined. Monsters of blinding darkness, swallowing the lovely old home and exhaling skittering fumes. Indigo sat down and calmly watched as the hard, bright colors melted into vague hues of heat and tremor. She didn't have to hear the footsteps coming up behind her. She could feel the presence, and she could sense it knew. Why, Magenta? Because it is time to go, and you won't be returning. Go? Where? Magenta shook her head. She took a seat next to Indigo, neither of them removing their gaze from the ripening blaze. Did you forget your promise? Indigo's eyes widened, and memories of their last meeting flooded her mind. Gripping the brush on her necklace tightly, she turned to face her friend. No, I remember the deal. You just never told me what you wanted in return for the brush. You know, Bibelot. You've always known. No. Yes, it is time. Indigo's head dropped. This was what the being spoke of. She couldn't fully understand, but some unknown piece deep within her knew. It was time to decide. Are all of you him? The one I can't see? Is he a combination of all the colors? No, we are but his vessels, his tools. The other colors too? The day everything changed? The ones that didn't show up on camera? Yes, we are all from somewhere else, a place you visited once, but do not remember. A place you want me to go back to. A place you must go back to. Indigo tried to summon some sort of memory of being pulled into the void. She failed. The pair sat in silence, mesmerized by the sluggish, burning metamorphosis. A small black tear escaped Indigo's right eye. If I go with you, I'll never see my friends again. Friends? Magenta said, unable to contain a chuckle. They are not your friends. Those people you watch, stare at. They do not even know you exist. You can never occupy the same plane as them. For all intents and purposes, they are mere figments, imaginary dream puppets. Do not cry, Bibelot. You will know the splendor of being one with all. These emotions, these feelings will dissolve. You will become pure. You will know truth. There is no state greater. The fire had grown in its location, somehow avoiding all of the surrounding shrubbery and trees. It was you, right? That day in the field? You were one of them? Magenta nodded. Yes, it was our first time here. The others reverted, but I was instructed to keep this form. And so, we stayed in your life. Perhaps you would not have accepted or even understood the words of odd beings, and one random person telling you about your destiny might not have gone over well either. Our combined efforts, however. So, it was all a lie? No, not a lie. You are crucial to the One. We've always known this. We kept you company in this world because we knew how lonely it has always been for you here. We were there for you until you became ready to come back. Who says I'm going back? You, Bibelot. You asked me for the brush because you wanted to escape this world's reality. Even if just for moments, you know you do not really belong here. You've always felt it. Magenta paused, squinted at Indigo. You do know what happened to the nurses, don't you? Indigo shook her head no. They were punished, brutally beaten day in and out, tortured. What? Why? Because they helped you escape. The scientists believe you must have told at least one of the nurses where you wanted to run off to. To this day, I sometimes find myself wondering if even one of them survived. Tears streamed down Indigo's face. Why are you doing this? Magenta hugged her friend. I need you to understand that I am looking out for you. The truth in this world is ugly, painful. You do not belong here. There is nothing left for you. And that other place, the one you see when you use the brush, that place is even worse. Greed, malice, war. That world makes this one look like heaven. Frowning, Indigo wiped her face with her sleeve. You're lying. The people I see there are not evil. They're wonderful. Magenta smiled bittersweetly. You only see one side of them. At its core, their kind is petty and cruel, and they have long forgotten what once made them admirable. They have forsaken their true future in favor of a false and flimsy one promised by animals in loud boxes. That is the truth behind your painted windows. There is no hope for them. That world belongs to the pigs, the dogs, the snakes. Those windows are your boxes. Do not fall for flat lies. Magenta paused, closed her eyes. In your heart, you know the truth. Where you are going is indescribable. A long, silent moment drifted by, peppered only by the crackling of the burning house and Indigo's soft sobs. I'm scared. No, you are hesitant. Fear has no place in you. Just tell me, are you prepared? Turning her attention back to the lack of home, Indigo sighed. Magenta was right. There was nothing left. Okay, I'll go with you. But first, I want a chance to speak to... I know. We shall go there now.